today we are going to talk about the AI, the controversial and timely question that is AI, is artificial intelligence coming for your job? Is it coming for our job? We need to make software developers obsolete. Joining us is Alan Kiche. Alan Kiche, good evening or good morning.
Good evening, Chrisphine. Thanks so much for having me here. I'm humble and delighted, especially to be able to have this particular type of conversation. In regards right now, so I'm currently a software engineer here based in Huawei right now, and I graduate from Moi University, where I graduated with electrical and telecommunications engineering. Software engineering has been my core domain, and especially been pursuing a career in terms of tech. So I'm delighted to be able to share my experience. I'm delighted to be able to get to explore the depths based on experience and based on what I believe is up for grabs in the dynamics of tech.
So you did electrical engineering and electronics and electrical engineering. So you are an engineer from Moi University.
Yeah, I'm an engineer. Yeah, but I decided to make a diversion into software engineering. Perhaps if you're willing, we can talk about that.
But can we say, or we don't say? Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you so much, Alan Kiche. Thank you so much for joining us. So Alan Kiche is a skilled software engineer and developer as well, who has mastered the balance between human ingenuity. And as you have heard, he's a person who has also mastered a lot engineering, electrical and electronic engineering. But anyway, to our discussion this moment, Alan, I will start with this question probably. Are we looking at the end of the traditional programming as we know it, or is this the beginning of a whole new frontier, where we just live life as normal and just continue doing our work because they do say AI is taking over? Is it true? Are we looking at the end of the traditional programming if we start from the programming world?
Yeah, I want to take this especially on two particular perspectives. On the perspective that for somebody who is relying on AI, and for those who are bringing the particular type of change in AI, I'll be able to derive my first narrative from Linus Torvalds, the creator of Linux and Git as well. Previously talked about AI being almost about majority, the higher percentage, 90% of it being more of market. This particular type of action by aspect by Linus Torvalds talks about the aspect of it being more of an advertising scheme than exactly it revolutionizing technology in a perspective. But this is somebody who created Git. This is somebody who works on the kernel. This is somebody who absolutely works in something that does not require AI to be able to develop anything. But now, when you roll down through what AI has incrementally done right now, we're having a lot, especially for the product-based companies, we are having AI capable of debugging quite a number of codes. AI has the ability to be able to read into massive large databases. AI has ability to be able to, you can be able to initially right now create an extremely a website. This particular type of aspect, in a way, has helped us, has significantly brought a massive change within this particular type of regards. Because now the very aspect, let me talk about if you enter in as a software engineer one of the main tasks that you'll be able to do is to debug code. But now with the assistance of AI, then what happens? Then that means that you can be declared redundant. And that's the reason why this particular type of big companies like Microsoft and all kind of that, they're downsizing, because quite a number of times the hype of AI is extremely real. Previously, about 2 weeks ago, I was talking with my friend who was with an engineer at Microsoft, and was telling me that the hype is just not the hype. Everything that they're doing, including all the particular type of automation that they're doing, AI has to be included. How do they use AI? How do they automate using AI? How do they improve, use AI in their work? So it comes with a whole lot of skepticism, especially for software engineers. But at the same time, we are looking at it on the double edge, on the ability to be able to help us be extremely productive in our work as well.
So, just to understand well, if I was a student or if I was thinking of changing my career, then I should look very seriously towards AI and something to master it very well.
Yeah, what essentially it's AI is trying to prove is that you have to be extremely competent. Right now, you have to be above the bar. You're
Mhm.
just not going to write a simple line of code and expect to be hired. The expectation is quite of higher. The interview bars are certainly so high. 3 years ago, you could be able to simply do a codility test for Microsoft quite very easily. But right now, it's an extreme, it includes a whole lot of linear equations, calculus, and everything. That is because of what AI has to. So there is an increased complexity in the demands of you understanding what you're using because you have an AI assistant in telling you what you're going to do already. Right
Mhm.
now, 2 days ago, the Microsoft CEOs sat down, the three CEOs, and like you could be able to see they were having an extreme conversation with Copilot. Imagine Copilot doing interviews for the three CEOs. That's how intelligent they've become. And these are the things that are internally used as tools in the production process, in the production pipeline of this massive industry. So what the challenge it brings is that it's really scaring people who who are living at who are not like being perfect in whatever they do, or maybe let's talk about mediocrity
Mhm.
in terms of like just being not extremely skilled and extremely good. But for a software engineer who's extremely skilled and who is extremely knowledgeable in what they do, then AI comes in to be able to increase your productivity rather than take away your job. So the fear and the scare of jobs maybe for guys who are not skilled enough to be able to get to see how they can be able to improve using AI.
But in a way, I think also there are those you talked about mediocrity. In
Yeah,
in a way, I tend to think also that there are those who will abuse AI and uh, and use it in a very dangerous way. Perhaps, for example, yes, AI might take away the job, your job, if you're kind of not serious at it.
surface level. Let's talk about that surface level.
Yeah, surface level. Yeah, yeah.
uh,
But don't you think that those who are on the surface level as well can dangerously use it, or can rather misuse it, abuse it?
yeah, quite a number of
Even
times.
those who are deeply, those who are deep. Yep.
Yeah, there has to be the race of ethical standards, especially when it comes to AI. I'll begin
Mm-hmm.
this from the interview level. We have one of the guys who has created a startup.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, when you're doing interviews, quite a number of times, there's a particular platform called Late Code. So there's a guy who created an AI assistant to be able to read the entire code and develop for you the code and everything that can be able to pass. So
Mm-hmm.
what essentially this brings is that there is no meritocracy in terms of like if people are able to use this particular type of AI in interviews and all kind of that and go unnoticed, you get to see that, then that means that the bar is significantly messed up with because you get to realize like you get wrong hires because these are people who cheated all the way through the
Mm-hmm.
interview. And when you read through, quite a number of people have cheated all their way. Just other than that, in the aspect of software engineering alone. Honestly, when it comes to the normal day-to-day, AI is significantly better. But when it comes to interviews, it becomes a questionable standard or metric by which people can be able to get their way in. The other ethical issues that have been raised is in regards, especially with the generation of images and videos that are not are not authentic to the particular type of users. Right now, I can be able to like just generate your image and be able to append it to a particular type of motion picture and be
Mm-hmm.
able to claim that that could be you. That is just how dangerous that could be. Quite a number of times, the celebrities have been a major, significant group of attack, especially whereby people can be able, because these are people who command a massive following. So there is quite a number of times people can be able to generate all this kind of like videos and append them to their name. The issue is it takes time to be able to deconstruct such an idea that this is not me, because at the end of it, that the mess is done. But you can be able to see increasing measures by this particular type of issue companies who are the driving force behind AI to be able to tame this particular type of ethical issues. But going forward, we are
Mhm.
looking at AI as being more of it's being driven by the desire of money. So the issues of ethics being taken in consideration is so much at stake. Especially we having OpenAI that began as the closest company. Right now it became open source. It has become a massive tussle between him and Elon Musk, who was one of the co-founders. So that just tells you there's never been a clarity in terms of ethics underpinning this massive dynamics of technology here.
So you have talked about, I believe, deepfakes,
Yeah,
misinformation,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
identity theft. And this is a
yeah,
personal question. I do voiceover.
yeah.
Do you think AI will replace me?
Why not? Maybe I really don't think. Maybe it depends with the particular type of domain that you're working with.
Mhm,
Quite a number of times, companies have been trying to adopt AI for marketing, and I've been seeing that with the massive telcos. But now, one of the significant failures of AI is that they cannot exactly, draw a perfect finger. You get to see that. So you get to see a big telco having a marketing brand, and like that image that they're using there has 6 fingers, has
mhm,
about 7 fingers.
mhm,
It has been something so I think it really depends with the particular type of domain that you are really working into. Maybe
mhm.
one way some may be able to require AI and all kind of that. But I think your ethic, so long as you're so good at what you're doing, AI cannot replace you so quickly.
Now, I'm happy. I'm happy the AI will not replace me so quickly. But I think also there are some other ways that they can kind of clone my voice and try to. But I know one
Yeah,
thing that the AI cannot give is the emotions.
yeah,
That
yeah,
probably I will do the voiceover with. Now,
yeah.
another question is how can society protect itself against AI powered identity theft or impersonation? Because I understand that there have been those kind of scenarios where there have been identity theft and misinformation being peddled around. How will one be able to? I've personally seen several, but how will one be able to to identify, to differentiate, or to really point out what is AI generated and what is not? Are there any key elements that someone can watch out for?
Yeah, quite in a number of times, this is becoming a question of debate,
Hmm.
because the very intention of AI is to become as an intelligence as human being, to be able to create a real image, to be able to depict it. So there's the continuous training of models to be able to
Hmm.
be as intelligent as that. But I
Hmm.
think right now it's we haven't reached that particular type of stage where, but okay, quite a number of times you look at Grok has a significant improvement in terms of image generation.
Hmm.
DeepSeek right now does not have that particular type of rollout for image. We have Gemini having that particular type of image generation. But I think what particularly the AI companies have done is to be able to check on the keywords. You get to see that particular type of keywords when you check it in, AI cannot be able to generate, especially to depict a particular type of character. But I think a real image you can't be able to see. I think it just speaks on being extremely keen and not
Hmm.
being biased. Sometimes you have this the issue arising of unconscious bias. You get to see that, and it requires intelligence to be able to just depict a real image and one that's really not real. You get to see in terms of coloration. You get to see in terms of like the skin tones, you get to see that the real image is quite different with the AI generated in terms of that. So it requires extreme keenness in making that particular type of identification,
Mm-hmm.
especially in terms of AI being more intelligent, and the whole idea is to make them as intelligent as human beings. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. All right.
yeah, sure.
Even as we still on the matter of ChatGPT, the Grok, and the whatever the DeepSeek and everything, probably they have their own wars.
Yeah,
It's kind of a business thing, a market thing. But I wouldn't want us
yeah,
to dwell on that so much. I just want us to go to another
yeah.
question. Probably the same thing, still on the same, but maybe another one here. Will software engineers become obsolete or evolve into something even more powerful? Will they come out of business from something that they themselves, I believe, have been part and parcel to help to,
Yeah.
to bring into being?
Yeah. I think for some roles,
Mhm. It will.
uh, it will, because this particular type of what has been the reason for the massive layoffs? It's because they're using AI has been so much important, especially in the process of daily automation in the work, that now they declare the some normal work by junior workers to be redundant. So quite a number of people have been declared redundant. There have been massive layoffs when you look at, and there's still continuous layoffs. The layoff began right after COVID and all this kind of AI hype, and there's always the continuous risk of downsizing because now AI is incrementally being so much of
Mhm.
important use,
Mhm.
especially in work. So as much as it's becoming an increasingly big issue, but I think it definitely affects the junior engineers as well, so doing the basic levels of all kind of that. Because for a senior level, let me talk about a senior engineer. There's just more that AI cannot be able to do. You are talking about writing new lines of code. You're talking about tracing errors. You're talking about debugging lines of code. You're pushing all the product from this level all the way to production. That is an entire pipeline that AI in itself cannot be able to significantly do, especially if you're working in large, massive teams. So I'm talking about the aspect of it, definitely declaring some roles very redundant, that's for sure.
Mhm.
And that's the whole idea is to significantly be making other roles quite redundant, but at the same time, it's enhancing productivity. I think that's the aspect that we can also be able to talk about. It has also enhanced the productivity in terms of like, what you could be able to typically do in quite a number of hours, you can be able to do it in a number of minutes. So there's the massive advantage of it enhancing your productivity and
Mhm.
error tracing and ensuring that there's efficiency in your production process and pipeline, but at the same time, is the high fear of redundancy in terms of like making a job quite of as well can be taken over. Yeah. So it's one fear that we have as software engineers, that in as much as this tool is significant for our efficiency and productivity, then this high stake of it making us redundant. So that's for sure.
Alright. Y-
Yeah.
oh, I,
Maybe to delve into it more, sorry, I
mhm.
talked about this
Yep.
quite a number of time.
Mhm.
Still into this, when I was talking with my Microsoft engineer, I was kind of like, thank God you're not really into a particular type of domain. Particular domain, what I mean, I'm in fintech, I'm in mobile money. So we haven't seen so much AI take over, but especially for those who are dealing in product-based companies and all kind of that, is massive AI into the daily task and daily skills that they're doing. So maybe just as I talk, sometimes the safety draws down to the particular type of domain. But
Mhm.
AI is so much into it. Yeah. Right now, AI is even into audit firms. When I was primarily last year interviewing for KPMG, I mean, they're rolling out AI to be able to help auditors do the work. So right now, auditors have an AI tool that can be able to help them. I remember I was preparing for that. So it's even getting right into consultancy firms that never used AI before. So that's just how much it's having inroads into every aspect of tech.
I don't. I think were you good in mathematics for you to do the engineering?
Yeah, oh, exactly. You have to pass mathematics.
Anyway,
Mathematics and physics is key.
physics show me does. But anyway, that's a story of another day. But anyway, another question I
Yeah.
really wanted to ask: what skills will actually matter in the next 5 years?
The most important skills that are going to matter, I think, will be the soft skills. The
Like
soft
which
skills
ones?
in terms of like we talk about collaboration with your
Mm,
teammates and all kind of that. We are looking into AI pushing people to be more, just not being more technical, but being more social in terms of like how you be able to collaborate with your members, how you be able to, if you're a customer based organization, how do you be able to ensure that you're customer centric in terms of like pushing in products to customers and always ensuring that you have this massive social scale. So it's pushing also software engineers from just not being on the laptop as well, but
mm,
looking at the aspect of having more social skills, because now the issue is when AI comes in to be able to especially automate all these particular type of skills that you're doing technically, then what is the advantage that you can be able to have? So it's pushing people more into social skills, being more collaborative, being more patient, being you can be able to effectively communicate your ideas and all kind of that. Yeah, so soft skills are a necessity going forward.
So, do you think at one point we will wake up and AI will have taken over? What will it do to human mind and soul when AI becomes more trusted than real people? Do you think we are headed that way, where AI will become more trusted than fellow human? And what will it do to a human mind?
And I think when that significantly comes in, it significantly affects the very fabric that holds us within the human soul, because now
Hmm.
we are trusting all this particular type of models that have been trained to be able to have a particular. And by the way, there's always been the question raised of bias. You get to see that. So if I am trusting a particular type of product that is biased, you get to see that, then that means my particular type of knowledge on it is already biased. So it
Hmm.
means that on a basic human understanding and the emotional judgment, then that is utterly false. So it's really separating us more from this aspect of uh, making rational judgments. You get to say that, and more on depending on on models that have been trained to have prejudice or kind of like a risky output for a particular type of scenario. You get to see that. And those have been questions that have been raised, especially within these AI battles. You get to see somebody ask a question and there's a prejudice, there's the risk, there's a prejudice of it giving a false narration. So I think it really affects the very fabric that holds the intrinsic nature that brings up the humanity. That's rational human judgment,
Hmm.
and I think that could be an issue of concern.
A big issue of concern,
Yeah,
very one, because I think AI, uh, as you've said, that some surface level jobs that will really suffer.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
All right. Oh,
Uh,
wow.
uh, uh, right now, quite a number of times,
Mm.
uh, uh, software entry level jobs, maybe they can be advertised as internship, but they're kind of like really rare. So quite a number of times need senior roles for extremely uh, uh, massive that require massive skills as well. You get to say that, yeah.
But
You're
don't you
not going
think?
to hire somebody. You're not
Yeah.
going to hire somebody who will rely on ChatGPT to read the code base when it can be able to do that in its entirety.
But don't you think we might be creating intelligence that we no longer understand? Like, an intelligence that will come up or is coming up that we will no longer understand or even control.
Yeah, and especially when it's driven by the desire to have the highest market share and make profits and make
Mm-hmm.
money out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So just as I told you, Linus Torvalds talked about this being 90% of marketing. Why do companies do marketing? At the end of it is money oriented. So when money becomes the very basic to which you're pushing a particular type of product, then the issue is there's the risk that is concerned, and that is really for sure uh, it is at stake, because now when money becomes the very fundamental basis by which something is pushed to the market to the end user, then sometimes the end user may not at the end of it fully benefit from it. So I think in this particular type of regards, uh, AI has an although this is running at an incremental basis. I mean, you can be able to check all this kind of like standard on a basis, but it will reach a moment whereby I think, especially when there are no set, laws for these things to be regulated, it can reach a kind of a moment where there's massive outpour. But the most important thing is to be able to appreciate the advantages that it brings currently at the end of it. And I think the risks will be handled based on market competition.
Probably you will share with us some of the advantages that you think it's coming up with, but probably I think right now I believe we are entering an era of digital slavery, if you like it, where humans work so hard to feed the machines than replace them. I think that's where we are
Yeah.
really headed. Really, that we do really what it can to feed the machines than try to replace them. Yes, the machines have come to make our work easier, but now in turn we are becoming more slaves.
There's that particular type of mental slavery because AI is used in a daily, on our daily lifestyle. You look at Spotify, the running of all these machine learning algorithms in all these social media platforms that you use. Talk about TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
talk about Facebook, talk about YouTube, and quite a number of times, the particular type of algorithm that it fits on your timeline will be able to make you feed on it. It makes you so much dependent on social media. And there's this particular type of issue that has been raised, especially because of a significant level that needs social media detoxification.
Mm-hmm.
I think when you look at social media in terms of like platforms such as OnlyFans, we have TikTok, it has always been raised that it has destroyed the family, the society fabric, all right, because of the exposure to all these X-rated abilities and all kind of that. And quite a
Mm-hmm.
number of times you just use social media and the algorithm brings into your timeline something that will keep you always in the want to do more. So I think it's affecting the Gen Z so much because now it keeps you so much reliant on social media on tools and makes you so much detached from your natural things. Instead of like having all the time you're on phone inside your house, hooked into social media, perhaps you will be into the gym, perhaps you'll be into doing the natural activities that improve your health. So the risk factor associated with this makes us extremely dependent on phones, and
Mm-hmm.
this is mental slavery. Instead of us focusing on more of the things that will be able to give us mental peace, just getting jogging, doing other things, socializing with friends. Right now, people rarely socialize physically because with phones and everything else, I mean, you already have all this kind of dopamine filled scenarios. So quite a number of times people chase for dopamine, and if they can be able to get it from social media, then what's the essence of seeking something that is ultra will be self-fulfilling? So the dopamine rush has significantly affected this, and definitely with AI coming in, all this algorithm feeds into what we watch and what we see, what we hear.
Mm-hmm.
It's destroying the society's fabric. Yeah.
You just reminded me where I don't know. I was asked this question some time back, but it has happened to me several times. Sometimes I think of something and then and I haven't typed it somewhere. But later on, when I go to my phone or I start watching TV or YouTube, then an advert of such kind of thing I was thinking is there. So how really how?
Because you are not in control of your data.
Mm.
They give you your data. You're selling your data to them. So once you sell your data to them, then I can definitely think about what you're going to think next. That is the whole idea about AI, machine learning. What is
Mm.
machine learning? I want to train you to think like human and give me what I can be able to think in the next iteration. And exactly
Oh.
that is it. I'll be able to check on if I bought an iPhone. That is cool. I already know you bought an iPhone, so probably I'll know that what's the next thing that you want to do. Maybe the apps. Maybe you want something related to the cover or something. So the next promotional ads that will come into your timeline here, yeah, you can get an iPhone cover from Apple Center or do this, that, and this. And that is what has always been happening. You get something, you already install it, they have your data. Then they simultaneously bring into you something that already you'll be able to need. So it's more or less selling your soul for that. So now what do? We
but
have to rely on them.
but you think, I think this is not exciting anymore. Like
Yeah,
I think personally, I think we should be more scared of the AI future. You know, if it can try to think what you're going to think next, then I think
next,
it will
exactly.
really kind of, I don't know, don't have to think of the of the weird things, but
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, maybe
it's
perhaps
scaring.
think about it. It's scary. Think about in terms of social toxification. Take 1 week break off,
Mm.
so that we don't extremely be reliant on social media, extremely be reliant on AI tools to be able to deal. Because the fact is, human beings are creatures of patterns. What you incrementally do on a daily basis becomes your routine, and that routine affects your life. It becomes the very foundation of who you are. So sometimes it needs a break when it reaches a kind of a moment whereby you can't just take in anymore.
Mm.
Then it requires a break. But to tell quite a number of people, the teens right now, that you need to live a life free of dopamine, it's a high end calling. Sometimes it's very difficult. But
I
I
think I
think
think I think our next
yeah,
conversation probably
yeah,
once when I get to next time we should talk about that how to say
absolutely.
away from did you call it
It's important.
dopamine?
Yeah, dopamine rush. It's exactly that feeling that you always wish when, like, you're extremely hungry and like that time maybe perhaps you fasted for 2 days. How do you feel when you now the mind has already integrated in the fact that I need to eat and you are now going to eat? Now that is it. Exactly. And you question the fact that when I was in campus quite a number of times, a lot of my friends were in, games, and all kind of this.
Mm.
It's not a high level, a high value work. Maybe perhaps for the person who is doing the job itself could be, but for you who's there to be able to satisfy the dopamine level quite a number of times, it comes and goes. So it makes the problem with the consistent desire to be able to satisfy the dopamine rush is that it never ends.
Mm.
Once there's one satisfaction, there's the more a grave desire to be able to fulfill it even further. So that's the reason why it keeps you more reliant on machines, more reliant on these tools than you finding yourself.
Now, so what can ordinary person do to stay safe and informed, especially about AI?
I think you just need to make your house be in order. It begins from who you are. When I tell you, make your house, make your
you
room be in order.
you have just reminded me a scripture in the Bible that says,
Yeah,
put
yeah.
your house in order. You're going to."
Yeah, put your house in order. Put your house in order. You absolutely need to put your house in order
Mm.
because we need to live on the purposes of purpose. When you understand the very meaning of life and the
Mhm.
aspect of living a purposeful life,
Mhm.
then you get to realize like whatever you always have it's to your advantage to be able to help you reach and satisfy the purpose for who you are. So it should not be on the aspect of you having that diversion on you being reliant on them, but
Mhm.
you using them to be able to significantly reach your purposes of life. And to be able to come to this particular type of reality in life, then it needs you to be able to sit down with yourself and look at what the heck do I need to do? The heck do I need to be able to handle it? There's all chaos around me, but how do I put my house in order? It begins with a self-sound meaning to being understanding who you are and
Mm,
looking for the peace and looking for order in the midst of chaos. And through that particular type of consistently looking at order, then that is when the meaning of life and purpose comes. And definitely, these tools will not be an aspect of mental slavery or any slavery in any whatever capacity, but
mm.
will be a significant tool for you to be able to increase your efficiency and productivity.
So, in other words, the death of privacy. AI knows you better than you know yourself. AI
I know.
can predict your thoughts, can predict your habits, can predict your emotions. I think
Honestly,
we are walking into the
honestly,
we are walking into the
if
into a digital dictatorship, my friend.
exactly, if three Microsoft CEOs can sit down with Copilot
Mhm.
and then Copilot interviews them, I don't need you to interview me.
Yeah.
That is high level. That was so smart. That was really so smart. And
Mhm.
quite a number of times when I was looking at OpenAI, quite a number of times right now, a child that could be able to rely on ChatGPT to be able to do their homework. That is just how intelligent they could be.
Now they
So
don't think
now that,
anymore.
yeah, I don't think, not even the aspect of you thinking, the moment of you bonding with your child to be able to teach them homework now is
Ah,
slowly fading away. If they are to rely on AI, do you see
yeah.
how that now changes the very definitions of family fabric? If you are to teach your son how to do your homework, and then the child now begins learning all this kind of like tools, you'll be able to say after that, now let me focus on making more money. Let the child focus. So at the end of it, it affects in one way or significantly the other. Yeah.
I tell you, this discussion has made me more worried and more kind of so much concerned on how much I spend online and if this thing knows really has studied me know
Yeah.
what I think and what I do next. I, but there must be a way to secure yourself. Anyway, I believe so. There must be a way that you can control what you share. And is they call it digital footprint? Is there a way that we can confuse AI as well, not to think anymore about us for us?
Um, no, now that we are all depending on AI, now that all this, and the problem that we have is that this particular type of titans that are pushing
Mhm.
all that are the pioneers of all this AI, they're the ones running the very products that we use on a daily basis. So that means that we feed them the data, then they'll be able
Mhm.
to use that particular type of data to define who we are in aspect of knowledge, in aspect of the very dynamic. So I think right now there's little much that can be done with somebody who cannot be able to access the model, somebody who cannot be able to do anything. But maybe for self-peace and getting to find yourself, then maybe you can be able to, just as I talked about social detoxification, that could be the meaning to it. Yeah.
So with the discussion that we have just had, I believe probably one day we might find ourselves in a kind of a cyber pandemic, where, for example, if one day AI, maybe like what will happen if a major cloud provider like Google, AWS, or whichever, Microsoft, if one day they went down, maybe just for 48 hours.
I think the very essence of cloud service is there's zero downtime. So we may
But
not because there's
what happened? What happened? Probability. What happens if the
because
pandemic?
the very aspect of that is to be able to enhance reliability and
Mm,
efficiency to be able to ensure that's the very essence of cloud service. So we move all
mm,
the way from physical servers to cloud-based service. Um, I think it can have a significant deal. The reason why I'm talking about this, there's the aspect that was happening in CrowdStrike. I think I may not have the finer details, so and all kind of that, and it affected, quite a number of companies all over the
mhm.
world use Windows machine to be able to develop something. But there was a significant peak in CrowdStrike. I think CrowdStrike was handling one
Mhm.
particular type of issue of Windows security. And there's massive billions of loss in all these kind of companies. So that just tells you how much it could be overraised in terms of like losses within this all companies if for any case something happens. But I think with cloud service we may be safe so long as with my little lawyer I may be concerned, maybe a bit upset because there's increased levels of uh, availability and minimal downtime and all kind of that. So I think with cloud-based service, then we are rest assured of almost close to less than 3 seconds of downtime in a year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think we have had quite an extensive discussion on AI coding
Yeah.
and everything,
Yes,
whatnot. I think probably we should start winding down. Probably, maybe your parting shots. We start from there.
yeah.
Just
So
we can
my
bring this
parting
to
shot,
the yep.
part of what I can be able to talk about. I think when I normally meet with fellow engineers, I talk to them about AI has come and there's all this kind of like hype. Part of process of making yourself out in making your house in order is to be able to see what are the other facets that as a person I can be able to look into. In
Mhm.
the aspect of software engineer, we have networking, there's the aspect of cybersecurity and all kind of that. So the domain right now that I'm dealing with, as I told you, we deal with a lot of networking stuff, mobile money that maybe the entire process cannot AI cannot be able to because we are dealing more with tools. You get to see that. So it's about mastery of the tools and if you can be able to master this particular type of tools and go into other facets such as networking, those are part and parcel of it, so that you're not wholly relying on AI to be able to do your daily to daily tasks. Then you can have then the grim future of AI taking your job may significantly be reduced. Because I'm talking about quite a number of times people, software engineers, it's all about writing code. It's more than writing code. There's the aspect of enhancing your soft skills. How do
Mhm.
you be able to communicate? How do you be able to ensure that you collaborate with fellow team members? How do you be able to ensure that you can be able to design the aspect of system design? You're going to say that how do you design a large system? It's just not about coding. So software engineers, especially junior software engineers, must look beyond just writing code, just beyond debugging code, just beyond what basic AI can be able to do into other facets of life that can make them quite of relevant in an ever evolving dynamic world of technology.
I tell you, we have scratched the surface of a topic that is not only shaping our future, but challenging
Yeah.
everything we thought we knew about control, everything we knew about ethics and progress. And as we continue to create smarter, more powerful AI systems, we need to ask ourselves how much power are we willing to hand over, and how do we protect ourselves from the dangers of that power? Thank you so much, Alan Kiche.
Thanks so much, Chris Midamba. This has been a pleasure talking to you this evening.